So today we're going to look at the Harbor Freight 16 by 30 3-shelf steel service cart. So it came in this cardboard box, UPS. The box feels kind of heavy. Once you get it out, it's really not that bad. It's just because it's compact. And it's fairly well packed. There's a little bit of styrofoam. All the stuff's on the inside. So we'll just get it out and get it up onto the workbench. So get you a little closer here. So here are the parts. Here's the instruction manual, which we'll actually bother to read. And it's like a box of hardware. These are the casters. They got some nice rubber wheels or synthetic rubber, good sized. Must be 4 inches or so. And this is part of the handle. These are the vertical uprights. So you can see they're all packed up. They're not scratched up. It's kind of nice. And then there are 3 trays underneath here that are all slightly different. And we'll just get all this packing out of here, and then we'll see how we can do. So here's the hardware laid out. There's an inventory in the back of the book which you can check to make sure everything's here, what you want to do before you start. So these are the hardware pieces. Those are the bigger pieces for the wheels. I'm not going to open them up yet. And we'll see what the book has to say about doing them. And this is the first leg is in place. Takes a screw, a washer, and a nut. I'm going to put them in, run them in finger tight. I want to tighten any of this stuff down till all the shelves are in place and get everything all squared up and all that. This is the vertical leg. It doesn't seem to matter. There doesn't seem to be an up orientation of this, so you can put them in either way. It doesn't matter. Just makes life a bit easier. And I've got the second one in already. I got 2 more to go. So we'll come back after we get the rest of this started. So next we'll work on the middle shelf. Now these are the 2 remaining shelves, and the only real difference between them seems to be that label, which would make it the top shelf. So we'll go ahead and take the unlabeled one and we'll set it down in between all the legs. And then they say to put this on its side to work on it, but being the wild and crazy guy that I am, I'm just going to stand it up here and I'll get a bolt starter through the hole. And of course on my camera, so it doesn't want to go, it's being fiddly. And we'll put one in the opposite corner here just to hold it all in place. And then after that's done, I'll let go, and the weight of the shelf and the springiness of the legs is holding the bolts on, and I'll get a couple of nuts and bolts started. And once that's done, I need to go through and put all the rest of the hardware in. Same thing, a bolt, washer, and a nut on the inside. Here it is all assembled. All the bolts are still loose. And I'm going to use my screw gun. You want to make sure that this hardware is just inexpensive hardware. It doesn't have any gray rating. So you don't want to crank them too tight or you're just going to strip them out. It's a 10mm nut on the inside. It's supposed to be 4 longer bolts for here, but all I found was standard length. And also you want to make sure you put one end handle on, put your bar in, then put the other one on. Otherwise you're not going to get the bar in. And then just tighten them up. I use type setting 3 on my screw gun. So here's the corner. I'm going to do the bottom bolt first and draw it in because these sides lean out a little bit. So you do that first, and then you can do the upper one, and that'll make a nice tight corner. And just to explain, here's my screw gun. The setting is the clutch, and 3 is the middle setting on this. 6 is the direct drive for a drill that doesn't slip, and 1 of course slips really easy. 3 seem to be about right. As you recall, there's 2 types of casters. There's a fixed caster, which is this one, and there's a swivel caster like this. And unlike I've placed them on the cart right now, you really want to use a swivel at the front and the fixed at the rear, because I just find it's much easier to steer that way. Of course, if you want to do it the other way because you like that, up to you. You're a cart. Here's the hardware where we're short 1 washer, but I have those packs of Harbor Freight or hardware that go on sale really inexpensively, and it matches this stuff perfectly. And again, it's unrated hardware, so I wouldn't use it for suspension components or things like that. But for this, it's just fine, and it matches the stuff they use in their kits perfectly. So here's the front corner wheel. It's one of the swivels. We're going to bolt it up with the larger hardware, so we'll get a bolt started from the inside, pass it through the plate on the caster, and then we want to put a washer on and a nut, which won't want to start because we're on camera. And we'll fiddle with this for just a few seconds, and then we want to get the other 3 bolts started. You want to get them all started before you tighten anything down, otherwise you're going to have a hard time getting the holes to line up. So there's the bolt in, got a washer on, and a nut. So they're all in place. You need to tighten them up now. These are 13 millimeter, and they're inexpensive hardware, so not too tight. So here's the finished project. It's all steel construction. I like that. It's similar to the Harbor Freight 2 shelves with locking drawer, which I've had for about 6 months. Really happy with that. So I think that the new cart will probably be very similar and be happy with that as well, though the new cart seems to have slightly larger wheels, which is actually pretty nice. So you can see it rolls easily. You can see the front wheels pivoting nicely. I like the rubber wheels too, particularly if you're using this somewhere interior environment where they were tile. It says it's rated for 450 pounds, and I don't weigh that, but there's most of my weight on it, and it doesn't phase it at all. So roll across the concrete, down onto the grass, moving nice and easy, though of course it doesn't have any weight in it, so it might be different later. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you later.